Hello and welcome back to the Transform Me podcast. I am Nelia.
And I'm Paula, and today we are going to be talking about confidence.
Yes.
And what confidence means, the different types of confidence, how we build confidence.
It's something that we've worked on quite a lot over the years. So
Yeah.
quite excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully you can take a wee bit of inspo as always from this. And let's just start today with a wee word of wisdom.
Oh, we're starting off strong.
Yep, we are. Confidence is key, guys.
Love it.
So, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Yes.
Good one to start
yes.
with confidence, because it's if you're telling yourself, I can't do that, you absolutely can't. But if you think, I will be able to do that one day, then 100% you will.
You speak your words into existence.
Mm-hmm. So a nice wee word of wisdom to begin with before we start talking about what is confidence. And I don't know the actual dictionary definition.
No, neither do I.
We should have looked that up.
Maybe we should have, but you can do that at home.
Yeah. I would say confidence is a skill that you learn, and it's you collecting evidence about yourself just to prove to yourself that you can do something. Confidence isn't like a personality. It's not ingrained in you. It's confidence is something that you build over time.
Yeah, it's not a trait.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's, people get confused and think, I'm just not a confident person. How often do you hear people saying that?
They think it's inherited. They think it's a trait. They think it's a talent that you just have. And you hear it all the time.
I used to think that. I used to maybe say, I'm not a confident person. Because I wasn't.
Yeah.
I just hadn't learned the skill.
Yeah, you can be not confident, but it's because you don't have the skills. But I think people don't understand the differences between not having the skills and just not believing that you can have the skills. Yeah,
and it looks different to everyone, confidence. So for me, being confident is being able to stand up in front of a room now and speak to people, whereas before I couldn't even speak out in class. I would never put my hand up.
Yeah,
I was one of those people.
About that.
Like, whereas now I can stand up in a room and I've spoke to a room of like 40 people and I'm happy to do that. I can, because I'm being authentic and I believe in what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whereas if you asked me to stand up in a room full of men and talk about something that I have absolutely no clue about, I would crumble. So as it's like, depending what environment and stuff that I'm in, I would say is how I would feel confident.
For me, speaking into a microphone, I would have been
Died.
scared. And posting on my social media is how I do my little voiceovers and my little poems. I would have been so scared to do that in the past. Yeah. And now I fucking love it.
But I think that's because we've learned that skill, and to learn that skill you just need to start sort of putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
And I was the same as you. When I started posting social media, I started off with like typing wee words and videoing myself, and then gradually over time I was like, okay, let's put words into this. And it's scary and it's hard at first, it really is, but it's like practice makes perfect.
And now look at us.
Now look at us. But it's just remembering that confidence is a spectrum. So on one end you've got like anxiety and self-doubt, and the other end you've got confidence, but then you could maybe tip the scales a wee bit and become arrogant. And we don't want to be arrogant or cocky.
We all know some of those people. Yes.
Arrogance is actually, I would say, people who are not confident.
Yeah.
Pretending that they're confident or wishing to be confident without actually putting in the work.
It's almost like they put on that suit of armour.
It's like a mask arrogance, and it's because what confidence is something that you're doing and you've got a good why and you're supporting others. Whereas I feel like someone who's arrogant would think they're better than people. They're doing it from a place that doesn't feel good to them inside. Maybe they're not being authentic, so then it shows up wrong.
I came across a lot of arrogance when I was in the coaching world.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you do come across it. Male dominated field,
and probably very insecure.
And when a young female comes along who is studying sport and studying coaching and is really invested in the career.
Yeah.
And starts doing quite well. They put on that suit of armor, I think. And
you're like,
it's big ick.
Oh God. Yeah. It's like,
and that affects
bullying as well.
Your confidence.
Of course it does.
But you then just have to learn to.
But luckily for you, that built your confidence.
It did.
Yeah.
It could have gone either way. It could have just pushed me further down, or just.
You're like, absolutely not.
Boosted me.
Good for you, Hen. So there's different types of confidence, right? So what you've just described would have been, these guys are confident in like a group setting. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they've got like an audience. They are, you know, maybe showing off, or they become arrogant in these group settings.
But like when you go out and you see like a group of guys.
And they all act totally differently.
Yeah.
That's like group confidence. But then you also have self-confidence, and maybe they're lacking that.
Yes.
But you also have like certain areas. So for example, confidence can come across in everyday life. I'm trying to think of an example. I say to you, 100%, this is the quickest way to get to Tesco Mary Hill. Yeah. Like 100%, this is the quickest way. I'm really confident and certain about that. Mm-hmm. But then you might say to me, do a math equation, and then I'm like, oh.
What?
So it can show up. So you might get people who are really confident in certain areas, but then if you ask them to do something else, they're like, oh shit.
What do you mean?
I like absolutely not. Like maybe taxi drivers like that. Like, you know, like how many times have taxi drivers been like, I'll go this way here, and you're like, no mate, gonna go that other way. I know. And no. Like they are so confident in what they're telling you.
All the time.
And then you get kind of, you're listening, you're like, oh, aye, all right then. Yeah. Whereas my taxi driver,
in traffic.
Aye. But if he tried to tell us about yoga, we'd be like, absolutely not.
Oh, I'd sit them down.
But listen, mate.
Listen, Hen.
I know. Been doing this for years.
This is my expertise, Hen.
So it can be different in different areas of life. So it doesn't mean because you would say you're a confident person that you're going to be confident in absolutely everything that you do.
Yeah.
It shows up differently in different areas of your life. Then we also have gut confidence. So that confidence that you have within. So it's different from self-confidence, because the gut confidence is like your intuition and learning from what's happened in the past. Yeah. So it's taking those experiences and actually being able to say to yourself, okay, how did this work out before? And listen to that wee voice within you and just trusting it and having confidence in that.
We speak about it a lot, and trusting your gut.
Yes.
And having the confidence to trust your gut.
To trust it.
I think a lot of people don't, and they ignore it.
Yeah. And the better you get at doing that, I feel like that sort of benefits everything. Mm-hmm. If you can trust your gut. But also, this can be tricky because your gut feeling and fear can feel similar. And fear is a lack of confidence. Mm-hmm. So it's knowing the difference of, okay, is this fear trying to hold me back here? Or tuning into, okay, what happened in the past with this? You wouldn't walk down, for example, a dark lane at night because maybe before there's been someone creepy standing there and you're like, so you listen to your gut. Mm-hmm. Whereas something like fear-based might hold you back. For example, I want to start a podcast, but you get that wee feel in your tummy.
Yeah.
And if you're not tuning into it, you might think, oh, my gut instinct's telling me no. But actually everything else within you screaming, fucking do it.
Do it.
Like,
yeah.
It's known that difference.
Been there.
Been there, done that.
Look where we are.
How do we build in that confidence? We build in that confidence through collecting evidence of times that we've actually succeeded. So in order to collect that evidence, we actually need to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Oh, hi.
Because if you don't, then all the evidence you have is, I can't do that because I've never done it before. Uh-huh. But the more that you start doing it, and actually, if it goes well, if it goes better than you thought even, it doesn't need to be, oh my God, that was amazing. But if you're like, okay, that was actually not as bad as I thought, you're sort of like banking wee micro bits of confidence.
Love that.
Which then build up.
To just make you even stronger.
And it's collecting evidence that I can do that.
It goes back to your little mind meditation trick of thoughts building up reps.
Yes.
Each bit you put yourself out there, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah. So going back to that, the reps thing is a good way. Yeah.
It's just thinking about getting reps in.
Building your reps for confidence.
Getting stronger each time.
And actually see when you start to build physical strength, as in within the gym or whatever it is you're doing, yoga, it does build more confidence.
Yes.
Because that is evidence of, oh, fuck, look how strong I am.
Yeah, you feel so good.
Oh, aye. And you feel like you can take on the world, like cold water therapy. Yes. Even if you don't believe the whole scientific mumble jumble, right? But,
mumble jumble.
Because my sister sent me this article the other day about cold water therapy, and she was like, it was obviously, we were kind of laughing about it because she likes it as well, but it was like, you only feel good after it because your body's fucking celebrating because it's not freezing anymore, right? And I was like, well, maybe that is true, but no, there's a lot of science behind it, okay? There's a lot of stuff that it does to that grey matter in your brain. Lauren.
Love how I knew that before.
But I was just kind of laughing, but even if you don't believe in all that stuff, right? If you think you're all nutters going in that cold water, see you just proving to yourself that that's Baltic. My whole body's telling me I don't want to go in that. See you actually being able to fight that wee voice in your head, get in there and do it, builds confidence.
Yeah.
And as you collecting more evidence, you can do hard things.
And it doesn't have to be cold water therapy. It could be you going for a park run, running race, and you don't even run the whole thing, but you finish it. That's you building confidence that you can do hard things. Yeah. That you can finish things, that you can do it.
Yeah. Even as simple as, we were laughing because I remember being younger and I couldn't phone the doctor myself.
Yes.
If someone said to me, phone the takeaway place, I'd be like, what?
I know.
I can't afford it. That's for a takeaway.
Used to be like, just do it.
Just do it.
No.
And I remember.
Sometimes I used to be close to tears.
Oh, same.
I don't want to.
I don't think I started being confident to phone takeaways until about 3 years ago. No joke. I would be like, oh,
when you really needed
no,
it.
when I really, I was alone and I had to.
So sad.
Like, oh God, heartbreak hotel. Like, no one to phone the takeaway. But it was.
That's so sad. Oh my Lord,
mate. Some of the world are good. Phoning mate takeaways alone.
Built confidence.
Like,
feel the fear and do it anyway. I'm fucking hungry.
Like, why is that such a fear that you don't want to pick up the phone?
It is. I've had it. See, when we've had girls' nights and we phone the takeaway, it's always like, Caitlin, you do it.
Aye, there's always that one person.
It's always Caitlin.
I always said Carla.
Whose house it is, Caitlin.
Aye, she's confident.
All the time for me.
Mrs. Podcast. Can I phone a takeaway?
All the time for me, but for some reason, every girls' night, we're all just like, Caitlin.
I think if you've got someone your whole life, so for me it was always Carla, my older sister, was very confident. Yeah. And in school she was like, oh, head girl, goody two shoes. Aye, Carla, I hear you listening, laughing. But she was like in the political fucking debate club. She wrote this big speech about cloning. Carla. Aye, like she was the confident chick. Oh. So I was just like, Carla's wee sister.
I know.
So I had like no confidence.
We're both the wee naughty sisters.
And you're not even a middle child. I
know.
Usually it's middle children that feel like that.
But I know, I'm just the wee sister that's.
But I never really had to go and do things then. So Carla was always good at making pals herself and all that, whereas I always had Lauren, like my youngest. So I was never forced at my comfort zone until I was forced.
Out your comfort
and
zone.
then I built confidence though. So we can put our confidence in other people a wee bit too much as well. Yeah. And that's me, obviously, for a young age. It would just be like, I don't really need to do anything like that.
Right.
And then,
I used to be like that with swimming because I used to always swim with my sister in the same swimming club as my sister. And I wasn't really friends with people within my squad, but I used to always just hang out with my sister and her pals. Aye. And they used to always look after me. And whenever I got bullied, they used to just protect me and look after me, and I was always protected. And when I stopped swimming and started rowing, I was by myself and I was
pushed out of your comfort zone.
It's fucking scary. I hate it. I want to quit, but I love the sport.
Yeah.
And I was mega pushed out my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But
you would have got a lot of confidence in that
built
then.
so much confidence.
Especially because that tied into you doing sports coaching and everything else as well. So, yeah. Don't be afraid to take up space. Take your seat at the table, as they say.
Oh, why?
And you obviously had to do that being in a male-dominated environment with rowing and actually asserting your authority and things like that as well.
Yeah.
So it's that feeling of, like, obviously we've said feel the fear and do it anyway, but it's that feeling of like success that you get when you actually maybe speak out for the first time. So we know that confidence comes when you start being your authentic self. So if you're pretending to be someone that you're not going to feel confident in what you're doing because it doesn't feel good to you. So I didn't start feeling confident until I sort of did start self-developing, which is when I started to realise things that I actually liked instead of what other people liked.
Yeah.
Or having to actually do things on my own. So that all kind of built my confidence up as well. And then you start to kind of read into different theories behind it. And see, when you read into things like, there's studies about, if I tell you that genetically you're really, really intelligent versus genetically I'm not, and we sit down and we do a test, you're going to do so much better because you've been told that actually genetically you are better. Whereas versus me, if I'm told that I'm not, then I'm going to do worse. There's actually evidence in just that priming thing.
How crazy is that?
So cool when you start to read things like that. And then there's stuff that talk about in primary schools, the teachers focusing on like the sort of gifted children or the smarter children. And obviously they then go and excel. Versus if you aren't academically the smartest in the room, then you do just kind of disappear. Like you aren't going to do as well because no one's given you that evidence that you can.
That's what happened with me. I was always put in bottom sets for everything, just automatically.
Yeah.
And especially with maths, they never believed in me. And then I grew up and I was like, I'm actually quite good at maths. It's when I started building my confidence, I started realising I'm actually not that bad at this. I can do sums. Like I genuinely believed growing up, I am so bad at this. I can't do some basic maths.
Yeah, well, but obviously you would if someone said to you,
but I can.
You can't go to the top class. Then you're like, well, obviously I'm not good at that.
But yeah, that's what they were ingraining in me was, you're not good at this. You can't do this. And I was like, oh, okay. That's what you believe, especially when you're growing up as well. That's when you're really developing.
Your brain absorbs everything and takes everything. So a lot of this could just be stuff, if you are struggling with confidence, it could be a way back to childhood. And it's that comparison when you're in childhood or being placed somewhere, not getting a seat at the table, as they say, like
or
all of that.
Just says something to you when you're younger.
Yeah.
And that sticks with you.
So then you need to find that evidence yourself. And when you are trying to build confidence, really what it is how you expect is going to turn out. So it's your perception, the reality. Your perception then becomes the reality. So whatever you expect is going to happen is most likely going to happen. So if you're going in there like, this is shit, I'm going to fail, then it doesn't mean 100% you are going to fail, but you're not going to do as well as if you're going in.
Likely.
Yeah, more definitely. But if you're expecting something to be like, if you expect yourself to do really well because you've prepared, you've put in the work, then you will do better.
Yeah.
Because you're more likely to put in effort as well.
That's a huge thing with confidence is preparing.
Huge thing. It is. There's nothing worse than when you are flung in somewhere, you're not prepared, you're unorganised, you're flustered. It affects everything though, because that affects your body language, it affects how you're feeling, it affects your thoughts, which is all just a big horrible cloud. So then you're not going to be feeling your most confident self. If you're running late, can totally knock your confidence because immediately you start to think, oh no.
I was going to say that we've all had it with classes.
Yeah.
You're running late, you've not had time to sit up properly, you've not had time to think about the class you're doing, you've not had time to think about who's coming.
Yeah.
You're not confident when you start that class because you're flustered and you don't have time to talk to the people that are there to get the vibe of how they're feeling, and that you just know that it's not going to be as good as all your other classes.
No, definitely not. That's that saying like, fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Yes.
And it's so true.
It's so true.
And it's affected us. So as much as we are confident yoga teachers and we are confident in speaking, if we've not prepared, so let's just be open and honest here. We filmed a podcast last week, recorded it, we had no preparation for it. We sat and edited it for about 4 hours. I think we ended up about fucking 15 minutes.
Between us, we did probably 3 hours each.
Yeah. We kept
So
cut. And then at the end, we're like, this is shite, just bin it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't prepare. It was just, let's just wing it.
I know.
And we failed.
Yep.
But then that's evidence for us that in the future, if we don't prepare, then it's not going to be good.
We've learned from it.
Yeah, we've learned. And then we're now more confident coming in because we are like, we need to prepare before it, we communicate before it, like all of that stuff. Yeah. And I suppose for confidence, an example, we're talking about us starting a podcast, you need to have audaciousness. And it's that real putting yourself out there and genuinely having that belief that you're going to succeed.
Yes.
Whatever that success means for you. So for our why, our success is see if we can even help like one person. So for us then to get a message of someone saying to us, wow, that was amazing. You know, that's changed my thoughts on something. I've now started to take action. That builds our confidence in what we're doing.
That's what I was going to say.
Because you then you've collected evidence, like we just spoke about, you're collecting evidence as you go along, builds your confidence. And that's what that is for us. That's a really good feeling. Yeah. But that episode, we prepared. We done a lot of work beforehand. And we really, that was something that's really authentic for us. We were our true authentic self when we were talking about that. So it just shows you, all of that stuff builds your confidence.
Yeah. Oh,
what a feeling. So once you are prepared and organised, you need to be taking action. As much as we all talk about manifesting and your thoughts and your feelings, action needs to follow through from that. Because if you're just sitting about thinking, okay, I've got it, I'm thinking that this is going to be amazing, but then you sit on the couch all day doom scrolling, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're then going to collect evidence. You're kind of breaking yourself a promise. So if you've said to yourself, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you do none of it, that then chips away at your self-esteem every time that you don't follow through with whatever the task is that you said you're going to do. So always remember, like, all those wee things that you say to yourself, all those promises you say that you're going to keep for yourself, not for anyone else, as soon as you start breaking them, you're actually damaging your confidence as well. Yeah. So it can go either way. So you can start to build it by collecting evidence, but you can also collect evidence that will say, I'm not really a confident person, or I don't really have that good self-esteem. But you can chip away at that over time.
Sometimes also when you plan and it comes into goal setting too, when people plan and make goals, it's a quick dopamine hit.
Yeah.
You think you've already done it. In your brain, it's kind of like, oh, well, I've made this plan, I've written down this, I've made a vision board, I've done this. Oh, I feel so good. But if you don't put action to it, it doesn't follow through. Eventually that's going to affect your self-esteem, affect your confidence, because you're then going to have thoughts of, well, I never achieved it. I never achieved it. Well, I can't do anything. We've all done that in the past. Yeah. We've set goals and then we don't do it, and then it affects our confidence. Yeah,
because it's evident. Again, it goes back to that. It's evidence either way. It's either correct evidence or it's incorrect evidence. Like, so, either way, that's what's going to happen. And
action.
You obviously need to go back to the goal setting episode 2.
Yes.
There is a part about when you're setting goals, it's about the daily rituals, the daily habits, the daily routines. And again, this can be used in being confident. So if you say to yourself, okay, I want to be really good at making videos for Instagram. Okay, it's going to benefit my business. You've got your good why, you're being authentic to yourself, but you don't know the steps to get there. So figure out the steps that you need to get there. You need to obviously whip out the phone and start filming yourself to begin with. And that doesn't mean that you need to be talking on the camera. Like for me, that took a long time to get there. I started off with doing wee bits of yoga at home. Actually, I started off with pictures at first. I would take pictures of myself and then put a wee caption in it. And then I started to film myself. So it's building up over time. Then when I started to film myself, I would then type words in. And then I started to do voiceovers. So it was gradual. Yeah. And that's like me collecting evidence over time that, oh, I'm actually quite good at this. Yeah. I can do this. And that took a long time to get there. So it's not going to happen overnight. We say that with everything. But that's now led me to actually be audacious enough to say, I'm going to start a podcast.
Yeah.
So do not forget how much that wee 1% every day, all those small habits, all those small actions, don't underestimate what that can lead to.
Well, they make such a difference.
Yes. It's all those wee... Cause I don't know when I built the confidence to be able to start a podcast. I mean, that was never the start. That was never like a start goal for me. Fair enough, that was in my 2024 vision board. But I'd been making videos for like 2 years before that, before we got to this point. Yeah. So I guess for me, I don't know where that confidence actually came from, because 3 years ago, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do it. I just know that.
I know, it's so weird.
Yeah.
And now look where we are.
And now look at us, being audacious as fuck.
But we just had to have that confidence.
It is. We actually, so...
Oh, it's quite funny.
Talking about starting a podcast, that was actually a question that we got asked that we are going to answer in the next girly therapy chat. But basically a question that someone asked is, how did you decide to start a podcast? So obviously like I say, it was on my vision board. It's something that you had thought about as well. We then discussed it. We put it out there. We then were like, we actually could do that. So we believed in each other that we could do it. We were talking to other people about it and things like that. So then we were doing the classic thing. Okay, let's make a plan. Let's make sure we've got this. And we were just sitting one day and it's like, right, okay, we've got the plan.
Yeah.
We've got the name.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And it's just that take 5 seconds to just make the decision. We're sitting with all the stuff in the Amazon basket. And I was just like to you, fuck it, mate, I'll just buy it. Yeah. I'll just buy it just now. Just do it. And we're like, aye. And
as soon as we did it, we were like, this is the best feeling ever.
Pressing that button changed our life in a way without sounding dramatic. Like, it led us to here. Because if we didn't press that button, we wouldn't have done it. We'd still be procrastinating about it. And so that's a good tip, actually. If there's something that you're thinking about, just count down in your head from like 5 or whatever. Cold water therapy before you take that dunk. 3-second countdown. 3, 2, 1. Big inhale, exhale. In. Don't overthink it. That'll stop you. Just make that your wee ritual. Like, so for me, that's my ritual. Like, if I'm doing something like that, if it's like a big decision, count down, do it. Take the action.
Love it.
And what you'll realise is from that, nothing is going to ever turn out as badly as you think.
Oh,
we honestly live on a floating rock. And see the moment that you realise we live in a floating rock and your decision isn't really going to impact the world that much. Whatever you do, it's going to be all right.
You are a tiny little speck on this planet.
There's a lovely
in
video.
In this universe, you're even smaller of a speck.
But that's that video, right? So it's like, you might have seen it in social media. There's you. So there's like us just now. Zooms out, zooms out. And then you actually realise how small and like how small you actually are. It's like you're irrelevant. You're not irrelevant, right? But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nothing's that deep. Nothing is that serious. The world will go on. You're still living. And right, people don't like me saying this. And I say it all the time. And Megan used to say to me, Paula, stop it. But now Megan's all right. I'm always like, you might die tomorrow. You might die in 10 minutes' time. You don't know when that's like, use that as motivation. There's never anything that's motivated me more than that. I'm like, well, I might die. That's the only certainty in my life, is that I'm going to die.
Well, I had that belief. That was a wake-up call for me when I was in hospital.
Yeah.
Could have been there.
That's it.
I was facing it.
So you're like, I may as well just try.
It's like, well, fuck it. I can either go back to that or go forth.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen. And also when I was in hospital, I was sharing a room with some people that were in far worse situations than me.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah, it's eye-opening.
You never know what's going to happen in life.
No.
So
feel the fear.
Feel the fear. Do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. So if that is something that you are feeling like confidence is holding you back in, take that as a sign and just start to take small steps. So if it is, I want to start a business, even go and speak to a business advisor. That's you taking the first step. Go and speak to someone who's done it, or go out there or make a logo even. Start taking like the small steps. So you are you're taking wee bits of action and you're collecting that wee bit of evidence that you actually can do it. And that's a really nice place to start. If you are someone who is constantly telling yourself, I'm not confident, here's a nice exercise. So here's something to journal. Okay. If you've got your journal or got your notes, write down 7 words you would use to describe yourself. Right? So for example, it could be, I am lazy, I am negative, right? That might be what you are just now. And then start to work on all this stuff and set an alarm for like a month's time or 2 months' time even, right? Just set an alarm while you're working on all this stuff and come back in 2 months' time and see if that's changed. So that's a really nice exercise, because then mine's literally went from I am a quitter, negative, angry, to then when I looked back at that, I didn't do the set an alarm thing, but I then went back in the journals like 6 months later, and it totally changed because I was working on building my confidence and everything. So then I was like, okay, I'm really ambitious, I'm really confident, and it's so nice because then that just solidifies everything that you're doing.
I love reflecting on my journals and like past entries into my journals, because it's, you just look into what a different person you are and how far you've come, how far you've changed.
Which also builds your confidence, because that's more evidence.
Your confidence. It's more evidence. It's more reps. It's so cool.
Yeah. Think of it like this. So whatever you want to do, you're either going in with an optimistic mindset or a pessimistic mindset. And if you're obviously looking at the optimistic mindset, then you are going to be thinking of everything that might go well with it. If you're thinking from the pessimistic, it's what could go wrong here. So your body is going to react to that. So if you're optimistic, you are confident, you've got your hands in your hips, you're feeling good, you're smiling. If you're pessimistic, you're sort of like, your body language will also reflect that. You're like, you know, shivering into yourself. You might be like biting your nails. Like, it really gives off confident versus not confident. So another good exercise.
So many. I love it.
Like, love this. So even you don't even need to write this down. Just think right now. What does a confident person look like to you, right? Is their body language open or is it closed? Are they smiling or are they looking anxious? Is a confident person the person in the room who didn't take the first seat? Is the confident person the person that's still standing at the door letting everybody else come in? Is a confident person someone who, when they're talking, they're coming off authentic, or are they someone who's coming off, they're not got a clue with it? So write down what a confident person looks like for you, or even think about it and think, do I come across like that?
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you know that maybe where you could start is with the body language. So that's something that I started doing interviews. In interviews in the past, I would have, if it was like a group task, kind of let everybody else run with it. And I would try and chip in a few words here and there.
Yeah.
And then I started to actually, in interviews, try and take the lead, but also be aware to involve other people, because a confident person will also support others.
100%. You cheer everyone else on.
Yes.
You bring everyone else with you.
Yeah.
You know, you step through that door and you hold the hands of others.
Yes. A confident person won't feel like other people's success is going to affect them, because they are confident in themselves, confident in their abilities.
They don't feel threatened.
Nope. confident people actually help others succeed, which is really, really nice. And I think both of us give that energy off. And again, we've always got a good why. We are very confident in what we do, so we are always very supportive of others. And that's a really nice feeling.
Yeah.
It's a nice feeling for others to be around you, because you can help other people become more confident. And I'd say maybe we are quite good at that, because, I can confidently say that we are good at that, because we didn't used to be confident and we had to build ourselves to this point. So now we are willing to help others to get there too.
And we're quite self-aware of it now, because we've done a lot of work. Done a lot of work around it.
So yes,
but going back to body language, that's a huge thing. An exercise that you can do, which I used to do often before big meetings, when I had a quote unquote real job, and interviews, anything that I was shitting myself before, was a power pose.
Yes.
We fucking love a power pose.
Love a power pose.
We do it before we go into cold water. Because putting your hands on your hips, standing hip width apart, just, and chest out, head tall. There's scientific research behind it that it actually makes you more confident. The other one is that you have your hands up above your head in a V. And that also, I would go into the bathroom before meetings and before interviews for 2 minutes, and I would hold that pose for 2 minutes. And I swear to God, you go into that meeting or you go into that interview and you feel more confident.
Yeah, of course.
And because it gives you that boost.
Yep.
And it does something to your brain.
We got taught that. So when I was doing training for cold water therapy, that is something that I would always do at events. So anytime I see people at events who are standing shivering, they're looking terrified, I'm always like, right, girls, we are breathing. We've got our hands on our hips. We've got our hands behind our head. Whatever you prefer, what you've just said, and it does change your mindset. So if you are closed and you're shivering, all you're doing is signaling to your brain, fuck, this is
Fight
a fear
or flight.
state. Yes, that's it. Or freeze, which some people do. And as soon as you go, right, okay, hands in the hips, smile, forcing a smile on your face, immediately you get a wee boost. The same with if you, like you just said, going into an interview, I think it's Mel Robbins that really promotes like the high-fiving yourself in the mirror. And again, that's one of the things you're like, oh God, how cringe. But
it's the same with power pose. I used to go into the bathroom and think, what
am I doing?
Like, this is so cringe, but I'm willing to do anything here.
So actually go and try this just now, right? Pause this podcast, go over to a mirror and high five yourself and try not to smile. Genuinely, like you actually just smile, you feel better. Like go and do it, right? Pause, go and get yourself a high five. Some people are like, shut up, I'm not doing it. But
you're already.
Try thanks. Try it later then, just try it.
Yeah.
Don't knock it till you try it. Like genuinely gives you a wee boost. And there's people who swear by doing this every single morning. The first thing they do is they wake up, give themselves a big smile and give themselves a high five. Because our brains are obviously, when you think of a high five, your brain knows that that's a positive thing. You don't ever high five someone for something negative. Like, so we know if we're getting a high five, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
So immediately your brain's like, oh, okay, celebration time.
Let's go.
Let's go. Woo!
Yeah.
Listen, we'll always give you these wee exercises and wee ideas. It's up to you if you want to go and do it. Like, you can try it or you can't. We just know we've experienced it and it does work.
Yeah. Works for us, so give it a go.
Another thing that I do to boost confidence is visualization. So going back to journaling, because we always talk about it, even if you don't want to journal, like visualize, like, okay, I've already got this. Like, for example, a job interview, it's already mine. I know that it's mine. And visualizing yourself, getting that phone call will be like, you're successful and blah, blah, blah. But what you also need to be aware of is you need to be okay with not getting it. And that is also confidence. So for me, confidence would feel like I'm going into that job interview whenever I wanted a real job, that was. Now I don't have a real job. But in the past, I'd be going in there like, well, it's fine. Like, I'm already good enough for this because they've invited me to interview.
Yeah.
So I already know that I'm good enough for the post and I'm confident that I'm going to get this. But equally, if I didn't get it, I'd be okay not getting it, because then I would be celebrating that other person getting it. I'd be happy and I'd be confident that, okay, I didn't get it, but they'll be really good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
And not using it as a negative. So it's being okay with the worst case scenario.
Yeah. I think that's it. It's going into something and going, I know I'm capable.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I would be great for this job. I know that they want me.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if it doesn't work out, that's fine.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Like, I'm also okay with that.
It just didn't work out this time. No worries.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my path.
Yeah.
Move on to the next.
So that can be a factor that can break confidence and break self-esteem. If you're putting yourself in a situation that isn't authentic for you or doesn't feel good for you, and then you get a knockback, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not in a good headspace to actually accept that, that can knock your self-esteem.
Yeah.
And that's when you need to really tune into that gut, really tune into yourself, really tune into being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff, because it can go either way.
Yeah.
But if you feel, so it's happened to us all, it's happened to me, like my confidence has been knocked a few times with certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
It's having that drive to keep going. I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying. And if you never stop trying, then you'll never ever fail. And if you never stop trying, then you'll constantly you'll always be in a place to build confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So always take action.
Love it.
Yes. So let's just go over what we have covered. So we've covered what is confidence, and it being a spectrum of between self-doubt / anxiousness to feeling confident, and the different types of confidence. So people who are certain in certain like different areas of their life, or the social and group settings, self-confidence, gut confidence, and then we spoke about how you build that up through collecting evidence, feeling the fear, changing your behaviours, taking up that space, and then also about when you are being authentic, you can celebrate others.
Yeah.
So celebrating others, celebrating their success and yours, and then about your perceptions or your reality being what is actually going to show up in your life. So if you expect something, then most likely that's going to be your reality of that situation. What else did we cover? Being prepared and organised.
Always prepare.
Yes.
Always prepare.
Help with your because that'll just show you that you have put in the work. You will go in already feeling better. Your thoughts will be clearer. Your feelings will be more positive instead of panic and anxiousness. And then just that building evidence either way. So it can be, you're going to tell yourself the evidence is either correct or incorrect. It's just your mindset, switching up your mindset from pessimistic, to optimistic, and having that real audaciousness.
Love it.
The only thing we have not had is our self-love affirmation / poem, whatever you've got for us. Oh, she's away to get the diary. Let me get the cricket noise on. Ready. Oh, wait.
Yeah. How's that? Ta-da. I have the power to achieve my dreams.
Yes.
I think that's what I would say to myself in the mirror before a big meeting.
Giving yourself a wee high five.
Yeah. Probably before my first ever yoga class.
Yeah.
Or, before anything huge. I would just stand in the mirror, give myself a big high five.
Yeah.
Say I have the power to achieve my dreams.
Because you do.
Because you do.
It's also good about those affirmations and things like that. It's confirming in your head. Whatever you tell your brain, it's going to believe it. So I've got this, then you have.
Yeah. We've said it before, but your words matter.
Yeah.
You have to speak positively and kindly
and
to
confidently.
yourself and confidently. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. That's a good way to finish, actually. And never stop writing down all those wee affirmations for yourself. If there is something that you are feeling not confident about, just even test all the things that we've told you today. There's not going to, like we always say in every episode, there's not one size fits all. Just because it's been my experience or your experience doesn't mean that's going to work for everyone. So that definitely does help me. If I'm just going to use job interview because that's something that comes up quite a lot with confidence. I would just say to myself, you've got this, you're fine. And actually, anytime negative things come up, be like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And you'll be the same.
Yeah. The worst that can happen, say it's a job interview, you don't get the job.
Yeah.
You go to another one.
You move on. There's something better for you.
We live on a floating rock.
Yes, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep, girls.
Oh, God, if only we knew that 10 years ago.
If only, but then maybe we wouldn't be here.
We would have... Oh, well, that's true. So, I was ready to say we would have saved ourselves a lot of stress in the past, but actually we wouldn't have been here.
We wouldn't have been here.
Because we wouldn't be here for the inspo.
Everything happens for a reason.
It does. And you might be listening going, I've always wanted to start a podcast, but I'm not confident enough.
You are.
You are. We weren't. We were so... We didn't have a clue. We had to prepare. We had to put in the work.
Yeah.
And now we're here. So take this as your sign to do that thing, put yourself in uncomfortable positions, get out of your comfort zone, build that confidence, collect that evidence, and just see how much you change within even a matter of months.
Yes.
Go
I'm
you.
Excited. I'm
You've
excited
got
to hear
this.
the story.
So am I. Thank you as always
good.
for listening, and thank you for all the love. And like Nelia just said, we love to hear all your wee stories and we love your messages. So keep sending them.
Thank you, girls.
You always usually give a wee well done.
Well done for making it to the end, girls.
Thank you. Let's have a wee outro.